There we go. 98.7 WFGR. Show me the way. Peter Frampton. Andy O. Dave Cagalay. It is 7:17. Look over next to you.
Hey, it's Hal Sparks.
Look at that.
Snuck up
He's
on you.
He's the guy from that show who did that thing.
Oh, that's the show with that thing.
That thing. Oh, yes.
The I love the 70s, 80s,
70s, 90s.
Yeah, that's true.
But here's a lot of people.
It's important not to do them in order.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like a flashback.
Right.
You know, that's how people know.
Well, welcome to town.
Thanks.
Dr. Grins this weekend.
I know. It's very important.
You did a show last night.
I did.
Go good?
Yeah, absolutely. But it will be it's not indicative of at all of any of the shows the rest of the weekend. My show changes every single time. So as great as it was, I can't really guarantee to anybody that it will be as good as last night.
Yeah.
You can ask people.
Well,
I mean, it's kind of epic. People were going, they were walking away life changed.
Yeah.
Because my show right now is a cross between, I think, Tony Robbins and Carrot Top. I think that's the goal of almost every comic, but I think I've finally done it.
Little inspiration, little steroid,
yeah,
and a lot of red hair.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which you probably tint later on in the day.
Yes.
No, it happens on its own naturally.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an affect of being in Grand Rapids.
Is that what it is?
Not my intention.
Is it the fluoridation in the water?
Yeah.
Or is it?
It's kind of like that old Barbie that used to tan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave still has that one.
Does he?
Yeah,
of course. Don't start making judgments on me again.
I'm not judging that you would have them, just that you would say, of course, so quickly.
Of course. That just, well,
he's a Barbie geek, and
he's a yes
and I were.
He's a yes and guy.
We were talking before we got it. We're both a couple of Kiss geeks.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Really? You're a big Kiss fan.
Yeah.
This guy's a freak. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. We were discussing our power posters.
Yeah.
Like,
you had the lunchbox, too, didn't you?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's...
Every kid in Kentucky had a Kiss lunchbox growing up.
No. Not by any stretch. No. There was a lot of Conway Twitty. And you know what there were a lot of? Dukes of Hazzard.
Of course.
That was the hack lunchbox of choice when I was growing up. It was like, oh, what? Another Dukes of Hazzard?
That's right.
Yeah.
Showed up on the first day of third grade, and everybody's got matching lunchbox.
Did they ever come out with the BJ and the Bear lunchbox? Because they really should have.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, with a monkey thermos?
Yes.
That would have been awesome. Who doesn't want a monkey thermos? You know what I mean? Where you screw off the head and
love it.
Yeah.
So
didn't they have the Eagles song? That was kind of like running down the road trying to loosen my load. Like they actually got that song, which is pathetic and amazing.
You know what? We've had this debate on our show for years over the Eagles and Genesis.
Yeah.
And I tell you, my side of the thing is that Genesis is a really better band, and he over here. Yeah, Mr. Tough Guy. He likes those Eagles ballads because he's.
I'm in touch with my sensitive side, and I like guys playing guitar sitting on stools.
Well, let's get the word from Hal.
Tonight didn't do it for you?
Yeah.
God, no. It's ridiculous.
I would argue kind of not even an apples and oranges kind of a thing. I would be more like apples and Brussels sprouts situation when you're comparing the Eagles to Genesis, two totally different bands. I mean, certainly if you look at, Don Henley, a spawn of Eagles, his solo career, basically recreating what the Eagles did.
Again.
In
That's
his own.
inventive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the other guy. And
what other guy? You mean like Glenn Fry or Joe Walsh?
Glenn Fry. Yeah, Glenn Fry. I mean, Joe Walsh is awesome, but largely just kind of a Jimmy Buffett of his own. You know what I mean? Like his own kind of magically.
Right.
His own, like, I'm
a dirty Jimmy
Buffett like coin. Get that. Play some silly songs. Sell some drinks. That's what I'll do. Touring the country. I've got 4 songs. Who cares? Whereas I think Glenn Fry went, I think I could make a lot of money doing the soundtrack for Miami Vice.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, you think Smuggler's Blues, you put that in the top 5 of all-time rock songs.
That was on television. With people wearing linen suits. I think you got to narrow past a little.
Right, yeah.
I will say, though, that if you look at Genesis and the offshoots of that, you had Phil Collins being the Glenn Fry of the Genesis situation. Yes. Much more commercial, going that route.
Right.
Slightly spookier, but still of them talking about drug runs that went wrong.
Yeah, I know.
And murderers on the loose, which is always, what I miss about the 70s.
Right.
More than anything else is songs about murderers on the loose.
There's no more songs about people killing other people.
I miss songs about
getting away with it.
And getting away with it,
I miss songs about hot chicks, too. Blatant songs that are like Love Gun.
Yes.
Over the top.
What happened there?
Yeah.
Where did all that go?
Well, I would say AIDS. I would probably say that would be the big one. I think AIDS is going to, like, while you're putting pen to paper, putting note to guitar, going, I don't want to write a song about my penis when everyone is afraid of it. I think that's pretty much it.
We were talking about this the other day. It doesn't seem like people are afraid of it now anymore, though. Ever since, like, Magic Johnson, everybody expected him to be, like, have died.
I don't know about you, but that still scares me pretty good.
Yeah, but people are actually, I think, more statistically afraid of herpes.
Right.
Yes.
Than they are of AIDS. I think
yeah.
there's no question that. I mean, it doesn't mean they shouldn't be. Doesn't mean the concern shouldn't be there. But I think what happens is I think you have a fear arc. Yes.
Go ahead. No,
Andy
finish your
in the
thought.
back. He was raising his hand to those of people home.
Well, sometimes I try to. I want to jump in after your thought.
Understood.
Right.
But I do think that there was the promise of AIDS deaths. It was outweighed by the reality because there was this big, almost like 28 days later reaction to it in the late 80s, early 90s that didn't pan out, largely because of a shift in behavior, but some because of the realities of the disease in and of itself at a certain point. That kind of made people question whether or not it was as big a threat as they originally think. And that's what will happen when people are panicking. They'll look for any way out of that panic, whether it's logical or not. Whereas herpes, just everybody realizes is, that's okay. Yeah, I buy. That's as bad as it is.
And what's so sad is just last week, in your very seat, we had a doctor in here talking about the International Herpes Convention right here in Grand Rapids.
We have herpes guy right there.
That's the kind of stuff that goes on in our town.
So rub your face on the microphone a little bit more.
If anybody's been able to dodge it, it's the doc who shows up with those things. Yeah. You know what I mean? He knows he's taking it seriously.
That's right.
That being said, a convention. Isn't that what happens to basically every nightclub in the country?
Well, to a degree. But these are the guys that try and figure it out after the fact.
Yeah.
They're the ones trying to find out how to get rid of this.
See, I think herpes. I think the cold sores are actually, the herpes sore itself is a way of that herpes waves to itself in other bodies. That it pops up because they seem to spread. One person gets a fever blister or whatever, and then suddenly everybody's bloom at the same time. And I think it's just kind of like herpes coming out going, hey, what's happening, Carl? Nothing, Lou. Just going for a ride on this guy's face. It's a theory. I stand by it.
You went to med school, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, shamanic med school, but still.
Right.
The spirit of the disease has risen.
Yes. We are talking to Hal Sparks.
It's true.
That's going to be at Dr. Grinzall this weekend. You've done so much television.
Yeah.
And you've done so much. You've done radio. You've done Second City.
Yep.
Looking back.
Movies.
Yep. You're kind of a big deal.
I am.
Yeah. Looking back. Where would you say your real launching point was? What was the one project that put Hal Sparks on everybody's radar?
Talk soup for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you're on TV, 7 days a week, 7 times a day. There's no better entryway into that. As a matter of fact, I knew it was going to be that way when I got the job because I like everybody. I had almost 10 to /12 years from when I moved to LA to work. And when I actually got something where I broke out, it was about 10 years.
It's not easy to do.
Well, it shouldn't be. You can make millions of dollars and influence minds across the country. It should be work.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to just kind of kick the doors in. And now we're to kick the doors in. Like reality TV gave a kick the doors in welcome. So any idiot can accidentally be Duck Dynasty famous. And then people are like, he's right about a lot of stuff. You're like, maybe there should be a vetting process.
Now, is there, collectively as comedians in L.A., does that piss a lot of you people off? Like, you know what, that these people are able to come in with literally no talent.
I mean, let's be honest.
Backwards into
more
cash.
actors. Comics don't care. Comics, everyone is fodder.
Yeah.
That's just another place to mine jokes from.
Right.
That's the greatest thing about being a comic is none of the rules apply to you that apply to all other entertainment.
Right.
Cheating on your girlfriend, getting caught with a hooker, and brandishing a gun in an airport, all the things that ruin actors' careers or get them put in rehab. Literally, a comic can do, and they're like, he's crazy. That's hilarious. And you're like, no, I really need help. And like, no, that's just funny. You could drag a recently sodomized deceased donkey, a midget hooker, and a sign with some sort of racist creed on it out of a burning brothel on camera, and people would, as a comic, they go, "That's oh my god, that's crazy." That's He's so good. I can't wait to buy his next record. We're going to go. I hear he pees on people now. You know what I mean? Like, what do I have to do to break? Like, as a comic, you can't even have a TMZ moment.
No.
Really.
No.
Which is awesome and annoying at the same time.
Right.
Because that's, of course, that's the cheap shot way to be famous.
Yeah.
And sometimes it helps.
Yeah.
Because PR people are expensive, but whipping your crank out in a nightclub should give you a boost. One would think.
So, that said, is there anything that you've done that you either got caught doing or that you've done that you've really regretted from that standpoint at all?
No.
That a boy.
No. And here's the thing, I've been, on Queer as Folk, I was nude on television with a lot of regularity. On Top Soup, I was literally like the sarcasm and irony patrol for almost all of American television,
right?
Daily. And the I Love the 80s, 70s, and 90s, I was like the one guy, if you watch the stuff, because everybody's like, that's so snarky, and everybody's so sarcastic. If you watch me, I'm not really being sarcastic at all.
No.
Like, people around me are. But if I like something, I will explain to you why I like it. And if I hate something, I will explain to you why I hate it in comedic terms.
Right.
But I'm not being snarky. I really believe what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
That's what differentiated it. That being said, what are you going to shame me about?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, really. What? I had my own Kiss dolls on. I love the 70s. So what are you going to do? Call me out because I was at a concert you don't think is hip?
Right.
I mean, really.
Right.
I drive, in L.A., they have a TMZ tourist bus.
Okay.
And I know for a fact that dozens of people riding that thing have taken pictures of me over the last 3 years. I think that's about how long we've had it.
They drive right by your house?
Just around L.A. Have pictures of me giving them the finger. Because that's what I do when they pass. Not because I want the attention, but because I genuinely hate them.
Yeah.
I genuinely hate TMZ. And I think they probably killed more celebrities over the years just so they can announce their deaths. They drive people to drink themselves into a hole by just every time you're trying to get yourself together, they'll be right outside of rehab. You're going to fail soon. You're going to fail soon. You're going to fail soon. And then you fail. And then they see, you told you. And then you go, maybe they're right and I'm wrong about myself. And then these people croak. And then they're the first person to announce their death. And their relatives have to find out on a tweet from Harvey. Yeah. So I think they're evil. And so when people are in their little, bus driving around town taking pictures of this is where this guy died, I just hate them. So I give them the bird as I see them out the window. Nobody's ever going to publish those shots like Hell's Park slipping off traffic, blah, 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 trying to shame me because they can't.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you don't see TMZ as legitimate journalism then in your mind?
Did you just ask that question? Did you actually form those words in that order?
Because of the fact it seems like they break everything. Whether you like TMZ or not, I'm not a huge fan. It seems like they break.
They don't break anything. They announce things that are permanent, and they act as if they're news. I got news for you. When somebody's dead today, they're going to be dead in 3 days. Yep. They're going to be dead in 5 days. They're going to be dead after their family's been notified.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's still going to be news. You're still going to be just as shocked to find out a celebrity died 3 days from now as you would be today if you gave a crap about their existence. That's not breaking news. Breaking news is the building is on fire that you're in.
Yeah.
And that's what breaking news is, because that will affect your behavior over the course of the next hour, days, months, whatever.
Right.
This isn't going to affect your behavior unless you're related to this person. It's going to put you in bereavement sooner.
Yeah.
Because that's it. They don't break news stories. No one breaks an obituary.
Right. We go back and forth about this. I mean, he thinks the paparazzi.
I don't have an issue with paparazzi. I really don't.
He thinks they're just doing their job.
I think are a lot of them individually scumbags? I don't doubt that for a second.
Now, my take on the whole thing is that they're provoking people to make news.
No question.
I think anybody that's he wants to give them the finger or punch them in the face or whatever they want to do, I'm all for it.
Right.
Because I think they're scumbags.
At one point, and this is kind of how the whole TMZ thing started with me, was that I was driving on Wilshire, and I passed where a couple of the paparazzi had driven Lindsay Lohan off the road. She had crashed her car. This was a few years ago.
Yeah.
She'd crashed into a corner because they were literally butting up against her. They were doing the Lady Di thing.
Okay,
They were chasing up alongside her in the other lane.
Yeah.
They were coming in really close. They were trying to get shots into her car.
Scumbags.
Yeah. And it's only by the luck of the draw that somebody with a baby carriage wasn't at that corner.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that news isn't that important. And here's the thing. Those paparazzi don't follow the politicians whose behavior affects legislation that affects your life. Nobody, no celebrity has any effect on your relationships unless you intentionally give them that ability.
Right.
However, there are tons of closeted gay or closeted misogynistic or cheating politicians who are legislating your inability to have a relationship or your inability to travel across state lines with your relationship, or have a choice about whether or not you have a kid, those kind of things, while taking their mistress to have an abortion. And there's nobody driving alongside their car taking pictures, and they're going, wait a minute, that's the chick from their office.
Yeah.
The way they do with a celebrity, and it doesn't affect your life at all. That's my problem.
Yeah.
It's not legit journalism.
No.
Those scumbags. And they endanger people's lives. And it's sort of a mental disease. Anybody who reads gossip rags is kind of mentally ill.
Couldn't you just say they're curious? I mean, for me, it's more curious than mentally ill.
Because curious you can find out later.
Yeah.
Curious will rise to the surface. Curious news, because here's the funny thing. You invite celebrities into your home on your television set.
Yes.
They are in your house on your TV. You invite a plumber into your house to crawl around under your cabinets and see where you hang your keys and know where your kids' bedrooms are. You are not at all curious about that guy's sex life or proclivities or alcohol use or drug use the way you are about a celebrity's. And they only come pretend into your house.
Now, do you think that becomes because people develop attachments to celebrities right now? Do you think that's why this
Sure.
They develop a relationship with them that they don't really actually have.
Yes. Well, even worse, they'll have relationships with the characters that they play.
Right.
And that's even scarier because I think a lot of people are actually curious. The curiosity you're talking about is are they like the character?
Right.
Which is really wrong and really messed up.
Now, did you find this when you were doing Queer as Folk that a lot of people would come out of the woodwork and just kind of think you were the character or just assume you were gay or whatever?
Yeah, well, beyond that, people will yell the character's name in public.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens to everybody.
Right.
And that's really bizarre because, especially if you're Doctor Who and people go, Doctor Who, you can turn around and go, they must be talking to me.
Right.
But, like, my character on Queer as Folk, his name was Michael.
Right.
And people would yell, Michael! There are people named Michael in the world. I'm not going to turn around and wave. That's not my name.
It's like yelling Lisa at a Poison concert.
And what kind of a jerk when someone goes, Michael, turns around and goes, hi, they must mean me.
Yeah.
And then their real friend Michael is at a stool next to you and like, what? How self-involved is this guy? And so you have a choice between being the self-involved actor in public going, they must be saying hi. Of course, anyone who yells Vince must be yelling at me, versus not turning around. They're like, I yelled Michael like 50 times, and he wouldn't turn around. He's so snotty.
And then all of a sudden, you become the jerk because you didn't acknowledge them.
Because I don't acknowledge being called by someone else's name. Yeah. It's it's a thin line to walk. The important thing is respect for the boss, which I think fans are the boss.
Yeah.
I don't think most people confuse producers, directors, executive producers, studio heads as the boss. They're not. They're middlemen.
Yeah.
They work between you and the real boss, and the real boss is the people who buy the tickets. The real boss is the people who show up at shows. So there's a legitimate amount of respect for that. But you can't let the boss sexually assault you either.
Right.
You can't let the boss show up at your house uninvited.
Right.
You don't let the boss, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think all those rules should apply. You don't let the boss take pictures of you and your girlfriend or your wife through your bedroom window.
Right.
Or
I agree with you, man.
I'm fine. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
And
all of a sudden, you completely
agree.
agree.
But if you're in public, look.
Yes.
At the end of the day, if you're a celebrity and you got some pain in the ass just constantly snapping photos, you are in control of ultimately how you react. You can't control their behavior. You can control how you react to it.
Can you split their
running
lip?
away. Yeah, exactly. But then that's what they want you to do. They're trying to elicit a reaction. Now, if you don't react, it kind of I'm not saying it's easy to ignore.
Believe me, there's like I said, TMZ has like hours of footage of me messing with their video guys at different events. They're always there. They always ask you a stupid question. They send now they've learned with me. They send the nicest guy on their staff because they know I'm not mean. I just don't like them, and so I'll be friendly to the guy, but I'll also offer him a job in a real production company doing real work most of the time. Like, dude, seriously, I know where they're hiring. Go work for real. And they have miles of that footage. They're never going to use it because I don't react in the way they do.
And speaking of work, I'd like to text you my phone number because when they do I Love the 2000s,
yes,
I fully believe I should be a part of that panel.
All right.
Like you, me, Lonnie Love.
And then, Lonnie Love.
Who else can we get in there?
Michael Ian Black.
Ian Black, Mo Rocca. Love them
Matthew
all.
Fox,
I could blend right in.
Yeah.
We've got Hal, we've got Ian, we've got Lonnie, and this fat guy from Sparta.
Yeah. You got to have the fat guy from Sparta perspective on the 2000s.
Oh, my God. Let's talk about your shows tonight and tomorrow night over at Dr. Grand's. What are we looking for here?
I'm going to be doing a couple of Steely Dan songs.
Oh, lucky us. You play music, though.
We're going to do, not in my stand-up act, but I'm going to make a special exception tonight. I'm going to go up there, do sort of an all-acoustic, like storytellers. What I do is I'll take some really well-known songs, go up there, play them just like the record, and then tell you the story of how they were written that I just made up.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to rewrite it. Let's call it storytelling, the rewriting of history.
Perfect.
Yeah, where you take songs like Copacabana.
Love it.
And just tell a completely BS story about it. I'm kidding. People listening at home, this is not my act. I'm just messing around. I don't care. The truth is, I'm happy to say, and I think this is the general stand-up rule that you should live by, is that I have about 3 hours worth of material that I rotate through.
Right.
So no two shows are the same. For my own sanity and for the return audience, I get a lot of return business, and people will see 2 shows in a row.
Right.
And I always feel weird. I always felt weird doing the same show with them sitting right there. Right. So I'm like, I can't do that anymore. I've got to at least vary it up.
Yeah.
But it's not as improv-y as you'd think because I actually do the homework. I actually do write bits.
Sure.
Out of respect for my audience. Thank you.
Right.
Now, do you find yourself tailoring your act depending on the city? I mean, you're very socially, politically aware. Does it depend on the city you're in, like what type of act you're going to do? Since you've got 3 hours of material to draw from.
Tonally it won't change. I will talk about the locality a little bit. And, and like last night, I think I talked about Grand Rapids for a good 40 minutes before I actually got into my own act. Because it just never ran dry.
Right.
We had plenty of fun to make.
Of course.
But, and largely about Detroit, the outlying area, and sort of the woods in between that I think are now a buffer zone for you. Yeah. Right. So to some degree, I will just talk about what's on my mind, but I will never dial it back. Like I have a lot of hick-hating material, but since I'm from the South, I'm allowed to have it. But I will also go to do shows in Louisiana, and everybody's like, "Do you kind of pull back a little when you're in that?"
No. Why would you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
They have it coming. If anything, I doubled down, honestly.
I was watching your Showtime special on YouTube the other night, and one of the things that I liked about
on YouTube for free.
Yeah. Well,
and
don't cost nothing on the YouTube.
And you wonder why the industry is collapsing.
What I liked about you ripping on the South, the fact that you're from the South, and it's like an authentic irritation, some of the things that you grew up with, as opposed to certain comedians who will do that who aren't from there, and it just kind of seems like you're picking on the South because they're an easy target, whereas you grew up in it, so you understood.
In defense of my northern colleagues, they are completely right in the criticisms that they have about the South.
So all the cliches are true.
Absolutely, they're worse. Because they're also built on a surprisingly tall pile of hypocrisy and BS that that you only realize how deep it is when you live there. That being said, most comedians in northern states like New York comics making fun of the South, they catch a lot of hell for doing it. Understand New York State pays I think $1.70 in taxes for every federal and for every dollar that Kentucky gets or whatever. Like that they pay what is it like? New York gets 30 cents back on the dollar in federal tax funds. and Kentucky or Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana gets like $1.70. They live off the teat that is New York. So technically speaking, they're allowed to complain. You know what I mean? Like too much teeth is basically what New York is saying. Like you're living off of me, you're suckling upon me, and
don't
easy.
bite down.
Don't bite down. And the South bites down. The South goes, I'm not going to let the government tell me what to do.
Hell no.
With a big block of government cheese in their left hand and subsidized beer in their right. And and the people from the North are like, hey, I got a street potholes in it that I can use that money for that I actually drive on to and from a job. I'm just saying. And then, of course, the Southern response is, "Oh no, because of the black people." So, like I said, just because I'm from there, I can make fun of them.
Yep.
And I will give permission to my comedic friends who want to.
Okay, just to be clear, Southern people are drunken, degenerate racists. I just want to I want to make sure.
Not all of them.
Not just
a statistically high enough ratio where you're allowed to make that generalization.
I just want to
Yeah, 82%.
You don't want to have your quotes taken out of context.
Sure I do. What better, again, isn't that what comedy is about? Take my quotes out of context. Do that immediately.
Touche.
The great Hal Sparks. You know what? I'm getting told you have to move on.
Yes.
You're on to some TV stations here, but you're at Dr. Grin's all this weekend.
Yeah.
Two shows?
Yeah, two shows tonight, 2 shows Saturday. I don't do Sunday shows because we take back one kadam for the Hebrew gods, which the staff honors.
Perfect.
So
wonderful.
Yeah, I don't do Sundays.
Hal Sparks, man, what a great treat to have you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you for coming, man. And
I saw the Dynasty poster. I knew we were.
Yeah. We're in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Awesome.
Let's start a Twitter relationship.
Absolutely. It's going to happen.
And then when that thing comes up again for I Love the 2000s.
That new, is it an NBC show called Almost Human?
I think it is NBC, yeah.
New NBC show about, cyborg or robot cops and human cops working side by side. I'm like, as soon as I was like, Almost Human is trending, I was like, the Kiss song from Love Gun? Awesome. And so I posted, fan videos of Almost Human. My buddy, Rob, who's the bass player in my band 01, when we first started, he's a creature effects makeup guy.
Right.
And his company's called Almost Human because he's a big Kiss fan, has a huge, Kiss, basically a hodgepodge of the Hotter Than Hell multi-face tattoo on his arm.
Yep.
And his company's called Almost Human because of that. And I was like, when I saw it, trending, I was like, good for Kiss. Awesome.
Finally.
Somebody make a video? Was somebody covering that? Did Rob Zombie finally fess up?
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
So, but no, it wasn't. It's just a show.
Al Sparks, thanks so much for coming in. We wish you the best at Dr. Grin's this weekend, and the rest of your media tour will continue this morning.
Great, Al Sparks. Yeah, and I hope your job at TMZ takes off. I think it'll work.
Thanks, appreciate it. I can use you as a reference, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Al Sparks, everybody.
Al Sparks already hates me. Oh, good, you're in.
Dr. Grin's all week.
See if the